Many leaders work hard, achieve results, and stay busy every day, yet still feel something is missing. Often that missing piece is not an effort or skill. The missing piece is about truly what drives them. Welcome to Coaching Talks, folks. I'm Richard Fontanie, and this is the podcast where we explore practical leadership insights for today's workplace. Now, if you enjoy conversations about leadership, workplace learning, and personal growth, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and refer this podcast to a friend. And thank you for doing so. Now, today we are talking about clarifying what drives you personally and professionally, and why this matters more than most leaders realize. In many organizations, people focus heavily on performance metrics, and those are important because results matter. But sustainable leadership requires something deeper than numbers. It requires understanding what motivation is all about. When leaders know what drives them, they lead with clarity, confidence, and consistency. And when they don't know, they often go between priorities and all kinds of different circumstances rather than driving themselves. Think of leadership like a compass. A compass does not eliminate storms or obstacles, but it points in the right direction. Your personal drivers act like that compass. They guide your decisions, your leadership style, and the culture you create around you. Now, let's explore 5 leadership strategies that help clarify what drives you and how to apply that clarity in the workplace. The first strategy is to identify your core motivations. Many people assume their motivation is obvious, but when asked directly, they struggle to articulate it. Some leaders are driven by achievement. Others are driven by service. And some are motivated by innovation and building new things, while others are motivated by developing people. Now, none of these motivations is better than the others. What matters is awareness. For example, here's a story about a manager who believed his role was simply to meet organizational targets. And over time, he realized that what truly energized him was helping younger employees grow in their careers. Now, once he recognized that, his leadership style changed. He began mentoring team members, encouraging learning opportunities, and celebrating employee development. The results in his team improved, but more importantly, his work became far more meaningful to him and to others. Understanding your core motivation creates alignment between who you are and how you lead. The second strategy is to connect personal purpose to organizational goals. Now, leadership becomes difficult when personal values and workplace expectations feel disconnected. The key is not abandoning one for the other, but finding the intersection between them. Consider a leader who values service. In a customer-focused organization, that value can translate directly into building stronger client relationships. Another leader may value innovation. Now, in a rapidly changing industry, that motivation can help teams explore new ideas and new solutions. When leaders connect personal purpose to organizational priorities, they bring energy and authenticity to their work. Employees notice that authenticity and they recognize when leaders believe in what they are doing. And that belief strengthens trust and engagement. The third strategy is to translate motivation into leadership behavior. Clarity about motivation must lead to action. Now, if you believe in developing people, how do you demonstrate that in your leadership? Perhaps you schedule regular coaching conversations, encourage training, or recognize improvement. If you're driven by excellence, how do you model that? Maybe you set clear standards, provide constructive feedback, and celebrate quality work. Leadership culture is shaped not only by policies, but by daily behaviors. Employees observe what the leaders prioritize, and your drivers become visible through what you encourage, what you reward, and what you consistently support. Now, the fourth strategy is to share your leadership story. Now, stories create connection. When leaders explain what motivates them and why they care about their work, people begin to understand the person behind the role. I remember telling a story about my own journey and how my experience in a seminary and a monastery shaped my career. And that experience shaped my commitment to developing others. When I shared that story with the teams that I worked with, something happened. The employees that were there understood why they spent so much time on values, coaching, and learning. My motivation was no longer abstract. It became personal and relatable. Leadership stories humanize authority and build trust in one's relationships. They remind people that leadership is not only about position, but about purpose. The fifth strategy is to regularly revisit what drives you. Motivation evolves over time. What drives a leader early in their career may shift as they gain experience and perspective. Someone who once focused primarily on career advancements may later find deeper fulfillment in helping others succeed. And that evolution is natural. But the key is reflection. Taking time periodically to ask questions such as, what energizes my work today? Or where do I feel I am making the greatest difference? This helps leaders stay aligned with their purpose. Reflection prevents leadership from becoming mechanical or routine. It keeps leaders connected to meaning. Let me share another example from the workplace. A department director once described feeling increasingly exhausted despite achieving strong results. When she reflected on what originally drove her, she realized that she had always cared deeply about improving systems and making work easier for employees. But over time, administrative responsibilities had pulled her away from that focus. Once she recognized the gap, she began dictating more time to process improvement and collaborative problem solving. Her energy returned because her work once again aligned with her motivations. Now, this example highlights an important leadership truth. Burnout is not always caused by workload alone. Sometimes it occurs when our work becomes disconnected from what drives us. Reconnecting with purpose restores that energy. Now, here are a few important questions for you as a leader to ask. What truly drives you? Is it building strong teams? Is it solving complex problems? Is it helping customers succeed? Is it creating opportunities for others? Take a moment to think about that. Clarity about motivation creates direction. When leaders understand what drives them, they make better decisions about priorities, projects, and opportunities. They also communicate more effectively with their teams. Instead of simply aligning tasks, their tasks explain the purpose behind their work. Purpose inspires effort. And when teams understand why they work and why their work matters, engagement improves. Now, before we close today's episode, here's a simple action step. Number 1, set aside 30 minutes this week for reflection. Number 2, write down 3 moments in your career when you felt most energized and fulfilled. Number 3, look for patterns. And number 4, what were you doing in those moments? Were you helping? And what impact were you making? Now, those patterns often reveal what truly drives you. Now, once you identify them, think about how you can bring more of that energy into your leadership today. And purpose does not require a dramatic career change. Often it simply requires realigning your daily leadership practices with what matters most. Now, thank you for joining me today on Coaching Talks. If this episode gave you something to think about, please share it with a colleague or with a fellow leader. And remember this: leadership becomes more powerful when it is guided not only by responsibility, but by purpose. When you clarify what drives you, you lead with direction, energy, and meaning. I'm Richard Fontanie. See you next week when we explore leaving a legacy and how that shapes what you do as a leader. I hope you can join me. Until then, bye for now.